Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We have a fun video for you today. What we're going to be doing is we have been kindly gifted some booster packs of Commander Legends from Wizards of the Coast. Thank you very much. You should be seeing right now the collector booster they also kindly included. Ooh, love that foil Queenie. These look really nice in person. So what we're going to be doing with the other 6 packs they sent is building a sealed pool. So I have a recent video on how to build a normal sealed pool, which goes over the steps in a bit more detail. Links down in the description below. This video is more about the differences with Commander Legends, because obviously we're building a Commander deck here, not a normal sealed deck. So with that said, let's get into cracking some packs. So the first thing we did is we opened all our packs and split them into each individual colour. We put multicolour to one side and colourless as well off to the side. Before going through the colours in more detail, I went through what commanders I had available to me. As our deck has to match the colour identities of our commanders, it's important to see what you have available. So fortunately, I opened a partner in every colour apart from black. However, with Prismatic Piper, it means I could use that if needed. But obviously that wasn't overly appealing from the start. I did have Nimrus, which wants me to be playing instant or flash type cards, and I had Thales, which cares about tokens. With this I could tell black would have to be very good for me to play it. On the flip side of things, opening a Kodama of the East tray looks to be the most powerful of the legends I'd opened, so this really makes me want to play green. Doing this check early is really important as it makes deck building far easier if you can just get rid of one colour early, that kind of thing. I then started splitting each colour into 3 sections. The top pile is cards I really want to play in that colour, the middle pile is playables, and the bottom pile is cards I really don't want to be playing if I don't have to. When it came to card evaluation, as this is Commander, I put a greater emphasis on ramp and more powerful high drop spells than I would normally by building a sealed pool. Same with things like board wipes and mana sinks as the games are going to be going longer. By splitting them up like this, it should give you a good idea of what colours and what cards you want to be playing. If this was a normal limited set, I'd probably just take the piles with 2 most playables and call it a day there, but we are not doing that now. This is Commander. In this, because colour identity is a thing, you have to keep in mind the commanders you have available to you. So because of Kodama, it really made me want to play green, and from looking through it, it was fortunately one of my stronger colours. 2 Fintond Elves, 2 Moss Diamonds, a Farhaven Elf and Firthlid is more than enough ramp to make a deck work. And combining these with Kodama as well seems like a really fun combination. For my second colour, white looked to have the most playables of any of the other colours. It had some removal, which is what green was missing, and plenty of creatures or spells that make creatures. I think this is probably a good way of doing it in this format. If you have a commander that you really want to play but doesn't have the playables, combine that with the colour which has the most playables. Each 2 colour combination has a thing that it wants to do. This is less relevant in sealed as you're not picking all the cards that go in the deck, and more working with what you have, but these are good to keep in mind when you're thinking about potential synergies between the cards in your deck. As my deck was leaning towards green and white, I know to look for a tokeny, go wide style of deck. In green, I know I want to be running Kodama. In white though, I have Rebek and Radiant Sarah Archangel to choose from. One thing I did notice was that in my pool there are plenty of artifact cards going around. I didn't have a ton of artifact creatures, but there was ramp, equipment, and card draw. I think you can easily make a quarter of your deck artifacts to help with the curve and make playables if your colours are a bit short. Next thing I did was starting to curve out my deck. I took all the cards from the want to play pile and the playable pile of the 2 colours that I chose and laid them out in CMC order. Because of Rebek, I also put the artifacts in here as well. It became clear that I didn't have enough artifacts to make it synergize with Rebek, so they quickly came out. I did keep in the ones that help me ramp or work well with tokens. This is when I started to lean towards Radiant Sarah Archangel. I realised I don't have many flyers either, however having a 6/4 flyer in the command zone doesn't seem like a bad option, and could be fun with things like Grafted Wargear and Hero's Blade. And with all the ramp I have, I should be able to get out pretty quickly to just start swinging for a load of damage. So I made her and Kodama the commanders of the deck. So after I recorded the top-down view, I did make some slight changes to the deck. I realised with how much ramp I had, I could put in a couple more high-end spells, so I had something big and dumb to do at the end of the game. It's recommended that you run 35 spells and 25 lands to make a 60-card commander deck in this format, but with all the ramp I'm running, I felt fine cutting back to 24 and 36 spells. Again, the 25 land is a base. If you're an aggro deck, maybe cut a bit. If you're a more control-y deck, maybe add a few more. And then this is the deck I came up with. I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest with you. There's some good synergy within the deck. I've got a few token makers, I've got some payoffs for the token makers, and the other small creatures in the deck. I've got some cool rares and mythics I really want to play as well. I do think there could have been a decent Boros deck in the pool, if I'm honest with you, with either Rahav by themselves, or with Kedis and Radiant Sarah Archangel. I don't know how to shorten Radiant Sarah Archangel, so I'm having to say the whole thing every time. It's a bit of a mouthful. But if I'm honest, Kodama I think is much better at doing bigger, dumber things, and in a game of Commander, combined with the ramp, I think that's enough of a reason to play green. So here are some of the main takeaways from this, as it felt very different from building a normal sealed pool. Firstly, always keep your commanders in mind, because you are limited by the colour identity of your commanders with the cards you can play. With that being said though, finding a commander shouldn't be an issue. You're going to have at least 12 legends to pick from in your sealed pool, and then Prismatic Piper on top of that. If you do end up in a really deep colour and don't have a commander for it, then I would consider running the Piper, just to give you access to all those playables, and then you can combine it with the most powerful partner that you have. Next up, play your artifacts. I was a little light in every colour in my pool if I'm honest, but I had a ton of artifacts. Look to these colourless cards if you need to make playables, especially if you're playing a commander that's really good, but in a colour where your pool isn't so deep. Also, if you're playing a 3-colour partner or a 3-colour partner combination, artifacts will make it easier on your mana to cast all your spells. On the topic of 3-color commanders, I would probably have played one if I opened one. But from what I've seen, I don't think fixing is going to be an issue in this set, especially if you have green in the commander's identity. If I were to open a 3-color commander, I would probably play it, unless I got a very busted partner in my pool. This format will go long, so you'll have plenty of time to find your splash colors, and by having access to additional color, your chances of playing more powerful cards increases. As I said, there is plenty of fixing in the set, but make sure you have it before you play that 3rd color. I would also say play higher drop spells. These games are still at 40 life, so you will get to play them. I'd only play low drops if they are good and synergize with your game plan. In that vein, play lots of ramp. The quicker you can get those big spells out, the better. If you're in green, you'll have plenty of options, but there's a ton of artifacts that can ramp you as well. So this might contradict some of the things I've just said, but play the cards you want to play. This format is about having a good time. As I said, the red-white version of my deck might have actually been stronger, but I wanted to play Kodama, so I built my deck in a way that works with it. This format is more rigid than others, with its commander identity restrictions, but then also because you're building a deck around your commander, it's way more open as well, and because it's multiplayer, you will have the time to do the things that you want to do. I don't really know if Promise of Tomorrow is going to be a good card in this limited format, but it's fun and it's something I want to try out. So thank you everyone, those were my tips, that was my deck. I hope you find that helpful. Coming up on the channel soon, we're going to be playing the deck itself. We're going to be playing against the wife in a couple of days. We'll get that video up on the channel soon. We'll also be cracking on with some more deck techs. If there's anything from the new set or any commanders of old that you want to see a deck tech on, let me know down in the description below and I'll start working on it. So with that, thank you very much for watching everyone and goodbye.